So let's bring in Republican Congressman Mike Pence, who serves on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Thanks so much for joining us. You are a budget hawk, and here you're going to hear from a president tonight who's going to talk about a huge amount of spending, but also budget discipline. Do you think he can make that argument, both arguments at the same time?
Well, number one, Andrea, let me say we welcome the president's call for fiscal responsibility. We just hope that Democrats on Capitol Hill begin to put our money where their mouth is. The truth is we just came off a $1 trillion massive stimulus bill. Tomorrow on the floor of the Congress, we're going to bring a $400 billion spending bill with 9,000 earmarks in it to the floor, and that combined with the banking bailout, the auto bailout, I think the American people are experiencing some profound concern about mounting deficits and debt. And so while we welcome the president's call for fiscal responsibility, Republicans yesterday called on our colleagues in the House and called on the president to join us instead of a bill tomorrow that represents a record increase in discretionary spending since the 1970s. Let's freeze all domestic spending this year at current levels, no earmarks, and start the process of practicing that fiscal discipline that is going to be an essential part of putting our fiscal house in order.
Now, Congressman, Governor Bobby Jindal of Louisiana is going to deliver the Republican response tonight. We've got a few excerpts that were just released, and he's going to talk about the fact that to solve our current problems, Washington must lead, but the way to lead is not to raise taxes and put more money and power in the hands of Washington politicians. The way to lead is by empowering you, the American people, because we believe Americans can do anything. Now, that's great rhetoric, but individual Americans might argue that they can't do anything about banks and the auto industry and the housing crisis, that this is a situation so dire that government does have a role.
Well, and Andrea, no one is suggesting that government doesn't have some role in facilitating the kind of recovery and policies that will promote recovery, particularly in our financial institutions, in our housing market. It's just how you do it. Do you borrow from future generations of Americans and plow billions of dollars into the banks, plow billions of dollars back into Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac? Or do you, as Bobby Jindal will suggest tonight, do you immediately reduce taxes on working families, small businesses, and family farms, let them have more of their hard-earned dollars to invest in ways that will improve their family's balance sheet, but also help create jobs? We think the combination of tax relief plus true fiscal discipline, beginning with that spending freeze that we'd like to vote on tomorrow, Andrea, and a modest government role in promoting the right kind of recovery in housing and in our financial services sector is a real pathway forward, not just one bailout after another.
Let me point you to the New York Times CBS poll. When asked, why do you believe congressional Republicans voted against stimulus, 63% said for political reasons, only 29% said because it was bad for the economy. I guess the American people are saying it's hard to believe that every single member of the Republican caucus voted the same way as a matter of philosophy and conscience. It did seem like a whip count party line vote.
Well, you know, whatever it seemed like, what I can tell you, it was a stand on principle. Republicans looked at this massive spending bill that was nothing more than a wish list of tired old liberal spending priorities and a small, amount of tax rebate checks that didn't work before and wouldn't work now, and we just thought that was the wrong approach. And I got to tell you, based on the capacity crowds at my town hall meetings in Indiana last week, Andrea, I can tell you that there are millions of Americans who agree that we can't borrow and spend and bail our way back to a growing economy. It's one of the reasons why we think, the stimulus bill is out there now. We opposed that, but we've got a chance to heed President Obama's call for fiscal discipline. And tomorrow, instead of passing an omnibus bill that would represent the largest increase in discretionary spending since the Carter administration, with 9,000 earmarks in it, let's get rid of the earmarks and pass a spending freeze and start putting into practice that fiscal discipline today.
All right, Mike Pence. Congressman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea.